Hey there, everyone. It's January and it is cold. Most of the states have gotten snow, even northern Florida. But those of us in South Florida, we were left out. We didn't get any snow, so I thought about it. Why not make snow? Welcome to my channel, One Word with Me. I'm Jessica Julian, speech language pathologist. Today's activity is going to be based on books about snow. So I actually have three books here. The Snowball, Dr. Seuss's Winter Things, and Say Hello to Snowy Animals. So we have three books right here that is very fitting for the weather, for our theme, what we're going to do today. However, I decided to choose Say Hello to Snowy Animals. Now, this is an activity I typically do with elementary school age children. But I have done it with some of my preschoolers, 3 to 4 years old. So throughout this demo, I will reference what I do to kind of scale it back a little bit for children who are a bit younger. But today's focus will be our elementary school age children and doing this activity. Now, please remember, this is not about you going out and buying any activities whatsoever, or materials for that matter. It's things you already have in your home. So you have books, and if you don't have a book about snow, then perhaps you can pull something up about snow on one of your electronic devices. That would suffice. And then talk about the characteristics of snow. Now, to make snow, we will be using baking soda. We will be using hair conditioner. That's right, white hair conditioner. See, it's already a used bottle of hair conditioner. Or if you don't have either of those, you can use cotton balls, right? So again, using things that you already have at home. So let's get to it. Now, this is going to get messy because we're using baking soda and hair conditioner. So what we're going to need is some type of pan or metal tray. I have one right here next to me. So right here, I just have the lid to that plastic box I just showed you, right? So we can start right here by using this as a tray or a pan or whatever you have that you can get your hands on that you don't mind getting messy to use to make our snow. So, and I've also spread a towel here on the floor. I know you can't see it. And what I'll do, I'll bring a little table in so you can actually see what I'm doing. So ultimately, the plan is to make snowballs, right? Or snowmen. But I've also included some animals that I'll be using here since we're doing snowy animals. But again, my animals are not snow animals. So I'm just going to include any type of animals into my snow. Okay. Now, remember, we always need to keep in mind our child's communication goals, speech and language goals. What are they working on? Whether it's a receptive language goal, whether it's an expressive language goal, articulation, because we're targeting school age kids or elementary school age kids for that matter, are they learning sight words? Are they learning to read? So these are all things that I want you guys to start thinking about before you start an activity. Well, how can I work on these things? But of course, that's why I'm here, to give you these ideas so you don't have to come up with everything on your own. Okay? So today's goals will be articulation, and we will be looking at recall, we'll be looking at describing, and we'll be looking at reading and sight words. Okay? All right, so let's start with our book. Say Hello to Snowy Animals. So remember, we always want to make our children an active participant. So school-age children, they're not usually going to take the books from us and want to just turn the pages. So we can give them the book and have them read. Okay? Come with me and say hello in the land of ice and snow. So remember, I said we're going to work on articulation. So the sound I chose for today's activity is the sound. That's S, right? So we have the sound at the end of the word ice and at the beginning of the word snow. So perfect way to target our articulation skills. Okay, so as the child is reading through the books, we help them with the story. Who's that fishing over there? Say hello to the polar bear. So remember, my other goal that I said is describing. So right here, we can always say, tell me two things about a polar bear. So what are two things a child can come up with to describe something that's in front of them? Telling me two things, okay? So that's where we're going to talk about describing. And then we have reading, obviously, is reading the words. We're looking for any of the sight words that they have on their sight words list, okay? And for younger children, we can talk about naming. And so as adults, we model the word and the child repeats it back. So that's how we would incorporate this into a child who's not at the reading age yet, but just learning the vocabulary. Okay. And then I talk about recall. So as we go through the book, we see all the different types of animals. We see the husky puppy. We see the caribou. We see the orca whale splashing in the water. We see the Arctic hare. And then at the end, there's all the animals. We have the snowy owl, we have the seal, right? We have the puffin bird. So this is where we can close the book and we can ask your child, do you remember all the animals we saw in the book? Name them. Tell me what they are. Okay? So now that we've made our way through the book, it's time to make snow, the fun and messy part. So we will start with taking our baking soda and pouring it onto our tray, onto our pan, right? So here we're just going to pour it all on top. We want to empty the entire box. We want to empty the entire box of baking soda, okay? So, and then with our hair conditioner, and also what I got is a little measuring cup, okay? We want to use just under a half a cup, right? We want to use just under a half a cup here of our conditioner, and then we're going to pour it. We're going to pour it on top of our baking soda, right? We're going to pour it on top of our baking soda, right? Just like that. We pour it on top. Okay. And once we pour it on top, we want to mix it in. So for the sake of time, I've already made my snowballs. So I have some nice little snowballs and they're nice and cold. So you want to just keep mixing it until they're a nice consistency, a nice powdery consistency here. And again, all I use for this is a baking pan, an aluminum disposable baking pan. So I know we all have a baking pan somewhere in our pantries. So we just take it and we mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. Okay, and now we have our snow. We have our snow. And you can make snowballs like I have. Okay, and then I also included a little bucket of water here. So that way I can wash my hands to keep the mess down. And now this brings us to our next part. So remember, I talked about having animals and adding the animals to our snow. So here, again, I don't have Arctic animals, but I do have a lion. So I'm going to put my lion in the snow. And then I'm going to put my rhinoceros, the rhino, in the snow. And then I also have a zebra I can put in the snow. And right here, this is a great way to ask your child, well, what animals do you have in the snow? Right? So now we can talk about the zebra, we can talk about the lion, we can talk about the rhinoceros. So these are all the animals that we have in the snow. So let's recap. We talked about reading a story, choosing a book related to snow, right, as a good activity, or using your device to pull up a picture of snow. And then we took some items that we use as manipulatives, as toys that we wanted to put in the snow. So we did that. So we targeted naming. And as the children read the story, they used their good S sounds, right? That sound. We targeted reading of our sight words, or as a child is just learning to read, that's just increases practice. We talked about recall, telling me what animals you saw in the story, how many animals were in the story, and also describing. Tell me two things about the polar bear. Tell me two things about the puffin bird. Tell me what puppy you saw. What type of puppy was it? right? It was a husky puppy. So those are the questions that we can talk about or we can ask for recall and having the child recall the information. So that really targets the receptive language, the comprehension part of communication. So I hope you enjoyed this activity as much as I did. Remember to subscribe to my channel, One Word with Me, and I look forward to seeing you right here next time. Take care.